This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.
Welcome back to the Time Is Now podcast, hosted by your team at IRG. I am your host, Justin Villa, and with me, I have Giovanna Guzman, the broker, the boss. And as you can see, we're not in our typical setting. We're not even in our typical country. We are currently in Istanbul, Turkey, and we are going back to Miami. This is our last day here, but it's been a productive last 10 days, I would say. But for those of you listening and seeing us now and wondering what we're doing here in Turkey, let's dive a little bit, Giovanna, about first of all, how we got to Turkey, what we're doing here, and basically how long have we been coming to Turkey to sell to the investors here in Turkey, the Miami market.
Well, first of all, it's amazing to be here. A little bit, sad because we're going back after being here for the last 10 days and enjoying this amazing country, but also good to be back. What we've been doing, I've been doing this for the last 10 years, is actually just pick and choosing the best options for real estate in Miami and bringing that to the investor in the Turkish, that exclusive and that smart Turkish client. So it's been a long journey. We've been doing this for many, many years. We used to have that office in Istanbul, Turkey. So it's been actually pretty amazing to be back and to connect again, actually to reconnect again. So we just were able to choose the best options that Miami has to offer. And we had an amazing experience. We did a full 9 days. We immersed within that 9 days, day by day, selecting a property and project just daily. So we were able to showcase and give that prioritize that project on a daily basis. We were able to bring some developers and some representatives from the developers with us and join us during this trip. So it was pretty amazing. We had an amazing experience.
Yeah, definitely. The turnout was incredible. I think it's important for those investors that have wanted to invest in the United States and specifically in Miami and have never been there or have gotten the opportunity to travel to the States to kind of do their research. I think it's important for events like this where we come over here, we do one-on-one meetings, we bring top projects with their developers, with their sales team, and we kind of explain why Miami, right? We've seen that Miami in the last few years has become a market where it's not just a Latin American market. Where before that was our typical investor, our typical
yes, we were like a seasoned
person.
Place. Now we become the global hub.
Exactly, and we're more of a global hub than Turkey.
Of course.
This airport is incredible. The people are incredible. The food is incredible. The culture is incredible, and I think it's a market that has had interest in the Miami market before. It's just now in the last few years they've opened their eyes to the potential that the Miami market has.
I've experienced them for a long time because I've been doing this for many years. And I've been coming to Turkey, a long time ago. And every time I come, it's a different experience. Every time I come, it's a different connection. They have different needs. So for me, it's been a growth. Within the times that every time I reconnect with a Turkish client, which is for me, it's amazing because this is part of my kind of a culture also, just because, my husband is Turkish. So being here is also to enjoying this amazing food. We're right now just having our Turkish, tea, which is amazing, which we always miss when we go back.
Yep.
So coming here, it's not only, I feel home, I feel with family, I just reconnect and I feel so welcome and so loved, here. So that's just this experience. And then also when we connect with a Turkish investor, I think this time, it's been, quite a year since we were not back. And this time was a different connection. Didn't you feel it?
Correct, yeah.
Yes. We usually host these events at Raffles hotels. And, we are able to, we've been doing this for many years. Actually, even it was nice that they welcome us by our first name. Like, they know us and they miss us for so long. So even that was just quite a detail.
Yeah, of course.
But just being here and experiencing the Turkish, because we always done many, many different events,
Yeah, we've done
Miami Connections.
Yeah.
We brought different panel members within different developers, we brought lawyers, accountants. So kind of educate and people can ask and answer all their questions they have about how can they invest in the United States and definitely in Miami. So we were able to kind of answer the questions like that. But this time we did different.
Yeah.
So what was your experience, Justin? That you've been here many times also, but this time we did something different.
Yeah, I think when we connect on that personal level, that one-on-one, I think it's another different level, right? Because I mean, we've done, like you said, the Miami Connections, where we've brought panel members and it's been a room of 20, 30, 40, 50 people, right? Where, yeah, you can somewhat connect with them, but you're not connecting on that personal level. And I think that's important. When you connect on that personal level with the client, and we experienced it here this time, where they're not just clients, they become more like family and friends. I think that's important. And I think it's not even just the Turkish market. I think in general, it's once you build that trust with the client, they basically become family.
Well, that's what they are. They start as a client, then become friends, and then friends that become family. Right now, during this trip, we were so lovely to be host to one of our, now who started as a client, now is one of a dear family member from the IRG family. They hosted us. They took us on a boat through the Bosphorus. So we were cruising the Bosphorus, not just only us, but also all the team.
Our team, yeah.
So it was quite a nice experience. We have a lovely brunch, Kempinski. So it was a very nice. We spent a lovely Sunday, and we are very grateful for our friends and family that they just take so good care of us.
Yeah.
So that was a very nice.
Yeah, we've been nonstop.
Yes.
After the work, which has been nonstop with the meetings, we've been nonstop after that, which has been fun.
Very
as well.
nice. But the good thing that we did right now was we were able to schedule one-on-one meetings. So we were really customizing and personalizing the attention to our needs, so to your needs, to the investor, to the Turkish investor. So I think it was something quite a nice experience, because we were able to connect a little more with them, and definitely enjoy them. And also it was very unique. Why don't you talk about the projects we were able to bring this time?
Yeah. So this time around, we were able to bring a few projects. We brought 7 with us for the 9 days. So some projects basically had 2 days. There was one day that we had 2 projects. But same developer. So basically, we kind of, like Giovanna said, we like to pick and choose those projects that we see are the best fit for our investors, right? We started the trip off with the first 2 days with John George and Miami Tropic. That has been a very big project for our Turkish investors. We have already investors that have purchased there, so bringing the project here was definitely a must.
And we had Nicole joining us during this time, so it was very lovely to have her here. To be able to, so she can present the project and definitely, give the best information and the more detailed information directly from the developer to the investor.
Yeah. Then following those first 2 days, we had Baccarat and Viceroy. We had Elise from the sales team join us, which had also big interest as well from the Turkish market, because I think the Turkish market likes to find deals, right? They like to find something that's a good entry point. They're all about their numbers, and I think a lot of these projects, when we do our research to bring them here, we make sure that those are something, those numbers kind of work and make sense for the Turkish buyer, right? But we also bring different projects, like we also brought Ele and Riva, 2 different products compared to the first 3. We brought Riva that has the EB5, which is important because we did have a lot of questions about the EB5 and different properties that would offer that residency and that green card. We then brought Dolce & Gabbana, which Gianluca himself was here. He's one of the major developers who has a strong foot in that building. So having him here and his support from him and his team was definitely important, and to not only to the investors to see him here and have them ask him questions personally, that was a huge plus.
A huge plus, and everybody enjoyed very much.
Yeah, it was definitely a good event.
We're very grateful to have him here. He participated in our event. He joined us, so that was that was an amazing time that we were able to connect with him, and he was able to present directly to the investor the project from his own words. So that was quite an
people had
experience.
questions for him, and he was able to answer
Right.
them directly, which is definitely a huge plus. Hearing it directly from the investor or the developer, not
Exactly,
just a
just for
sales
us.
team, you know.
And last but not least,
Yeah, we had the standard, which I think is also an interesting project for the Turkish investor. It's a price point that it's an interesting price point into the Miami market. If for those who have never purchased anything in the United States or in Miami in particular, it's definitely an interesting price point and a way to get your first foot into the Miami real estate market. But we brought all these projects, and it's just. It's a mixture of different products, but I think it's necessary.
But you know,
Yeah.
one of the media, because we're very lucky to have a great media presence every time we come. And one of the questions that I got was, what do these projects have in common? And it's funny because if you look at them, you know, it's all about the lifestyle. You know, they can offer the hospitality, like the standard. You know, it's all about the standard. You know, something unique. The hospitality. Also, John George is, you know, within created by the chef. So also, it's all about hospitality. But then you have the lifestyle. It's also how they connect to each other.
Yeah.
You know, so all these projects, you have the luxury lifestyle. So when you put them all together, they all have something, you know, particular to offer. And of course, location. What's best? You know, they're all basically located in the best options that Miami can offer. The locations are the ones who are going to guarantee you that rentability and that, you know, return on investment and that, you know, capital gain along the time, because these are all pre-construction projects.
Yeah.
We enter in the first price, and that's what definitely is going to give you the opportunity to guarantee that capital gain within those times that the property is being built. Correct?
Yeah. I think it was interesting. We had a few brokers that had been to the United States before and to Miami, and they were like, "Oh, I don't see Brickell like that. Like I can't imagine Brickell like that." And I literally had to tell him, I was like, "Listen, I'm born and raised in Miami. I'm a true Miamian, and to me, it's a shock, right? Like that the change that Miami downtown, Brickell, Edgewater, Wynwood, Design District, I could keep going on. It's just all these neighborhoods have gone through a change after the pandemic, and like you said, all these buildings have a brand, they have hospitality, they have the lifestyle, but it's something that Miami has demanded over the last few years.
And there's a reason why. Why Miami has grown so much. Well, we have all these Fortune 100 companies who relocated from different types of the U.S., like Chicago, New York, and they decided to put, you know, their headquarters in Miami. So based on that, you know, we have like Citadel, Blackstone, you know, we have
Microsoft, Spotify, the list can go on and on.
And on and on. And all that is, you know, it's just new residents who are just moving into Miami. They need a place to live. So when people say, well, so many projects, because we have more, like what, 140 something new projects coming along. So within the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to have like 6,000 units built. And you say, wow, that's a lot. That sounds like too much. If we go back in time and we realize reality is, it's not enough. It's not even half of the amount of units we had in 2015. So this is not enough, and all that's being sold and occupied.
Yeah, and
so
it's old
for
already
the new
at this point.
population and all these new residents who are moving to Miami, we still need more properties. We still need more. It's just not enough, and that's why, you know, there's so much demand, and, you know, these properties are just selling tremendously fast. You know?
Yeah, I like my Instagram posts with the numbers. And I think I showed you during the trip, someone was asking, oh, but like New York is still New York and things like that. And the post was basically showing that in the last few months to a year, New York has lost like almost $10 billion
Which is crazy.
to Miami.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like that's absurd.
I mean, New York is always going to be New York. I mean, we were talking about that. Of course, it's always going to be New York. But now Miami is becoming something new.
Yeah. And I think like you were saying, that inventory that we're going to have in the next few years, it's not going to be enough. I mean, we still have 900 people moving to Florida daily. And the majority are moving to South Florida.
Yes.
And if you run those numbers of the inventory that's coming, I think I think we were talking to Jengis a while back, and we were running those numbers, and it was like 2 weeks is what that inventory would cover.
Yeah.
Like
it's
it's
nothing.
nothing.
It's nothing.
So I mean, like Joanna said, we need these new buildings, and people always wonder, oh, are they being bought? Or I mean, yes. The thing is that, like Giovanna said, there's all these Fortune 500 companies that are now in the Brickell Design District, Wynwood, downtown area, where now their employees are going to have to start coming. So now you're going to have to depend more on the corporate rental and the people who are coming for the weeks at a time to come in and check out at the offices here in Miami. So it's definitely a good and interesting situation to be in,
Exactly.
because it's unique. It's
It is
definitely unique, and it's cool to see that there's no other place that's going through such a change, such a growth, the way that Miami is going through.
Correct. So, well, anyway, we just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our experience during this time. And if you're a Turkish investor and you miss the opportunity to meet with us, don't worry, it's never too late. You can always contact us directly. We're always going to go back.
We'll be back soon.
We'll be back
We'll be
very
back soon.
But we can always connect. There's always a lot of technology nowadays that we can do a Zoom meeting and be able to connect with you and go around and go with details about all these properties that we're able to showcase during this time. So you know how to find us, and thank you, Turkey, for your hospitality. We had an amazing time.
Definitely.
We ate a lot, too much maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, and now we're here in the amazing airport, in the Istanbul airport, which is, this is incredible. You see all these designer shops right here. I mean, it's huge. And we're here at the Turkish Airlines lounge, and just the food here.
Yeah,
it's
just
incredible.
in the lounge. It's been
So
incredible.
it's a good way to say goodbye.
We'll see you soon.
But we'll see you soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back soon. And remember,
The time
don't
is
wait.
now.
The time is now.
This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.